So what you see now on screen, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the book, because you're looking at this book going, why do we have this book? What is this book? So I was working in PointsBet, little company. It was a scale-up. So do you know the difference? There's startup, scale-up, small to medium business, then enterprise, then sort of global enterprise, big, bigger, bigger. So I was working in PointsBet with my colleague, Ady Kalra, who's the co-author on this book with me. And we just walked out of a meeting where the leadership had decided that they were going to separate product from technology and have them as two independent functions, which doesn't work if you're working in an agile environment, because product and tech have to work hand in hand. And we walked out of this meeting thinking, why are they making these ridiculous decisions? And why is it that nobody seems to know what the direction of the company is? Why is it nobody actually has a view of where we're going and has no vision of what we're wanting or trying to achieve? It's only been in business for 4 years, and it was a startup for the first 3. And then we said, and how can it be so bloated with so many superfluous staff members? I don't even know what they do half the time. Some people are just walking around with a piece of paper all day looking busy. And what we realised is that the organisation had lost its way. It no longer knew what its vision was. And it was treating the IT function as if it were a service provider. The whole business was built on IT. It's an online platform, so everything it does is about the platform. It's all about IT. But to treat IT as a service provider really was doing that function a disservice. And so we decided that we needed to write a book on how you would set up your organisation in a way that everybody actually knows the vision, feels empowered to work within the organisation, and be able to work cohesively across the entire business, from the operational level, the technical hub, through to your departments or your tactical positioning, and your strategic, so your C-suiters. And so we wrote not another digital transformation, because we have been through, I've been through 6 digital transformations. Who's been through a digital transformation? Who's been through a successful digital transformation? I love how you're all laughing. None of us go into this thinking we're going to fail. But because we go into this thinking that the problem in our organisation is that the tech function isn't working and that's all that needs to be fixed, we are already set up for failure, because that's not usually where the problem is. So the little diagram you see on the screen is the plane analogy, we like to call it. So think of this. Who's taken a flight ever? I've done this in a room of people, and then I've got that one person that has never taken a flight, and I'm like, how can that possibly be? Anyway, I'm hoping that every one of you have taken a flight. So you bought your ticket, right? You knew exactly where you were going, didn't you? You knew what time your plane left, and you know what time it's due to arrive, yes? I've just flown 22 and a half hours. I know that tomorrow I've got to get on a flight at 3 p.m. I know exactly where I'm going. I know what those stops are. When I go and I take my luggage, they take my luggage, they put a tag on it. The baggage handlers know which plane it's going in. They know, they have visibility to where I'm going. The traffic controller knows where that plane is going. The pilot knows where they're flying. The crew on the flight know exactly what needs to take place. And every single passenger on that flight all knows that they're on the right flight, one would hope. Imagine what it would be like to work in an organisation where you had absolute visibility from start to end of every single thing you worked on. That you felt completely empowered and knew exactly what it was that you were working on that was going to help that organisation achieve its strategic intent to get you to the end point. Does anybody work in an organisation like that, where you know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what the purpose is, and what the strategic intent of the organisation is, and how you're tracking towards that? How amazing would it feel if you knew all of that? It'd be pretty bloody good, wouldn't it? That is the 10X generation state, and the reason that you've got a book here is that hopefully you'll read this and you'll give this to somebody more senior in your team or somebody in the C-suite and say, hey, you've got to read this. Because if you get it right, every single one of you in your organisation knows exactly what you're all working toward. And your organisation can go exponential. You will push through the stratosphere and have the most extraordinary career for every single person in your business, but also have the most amazing organisational culture. And the reason you've got the book is because the only way it will succeed is to have a good, strong PMO to help the organisation make the revolutionary change that is written about in this book. You straddle the entire organisation. You know, or should know, all the key decision makers across your organisation. The PMO's function is incredibly vital in making change and transformation possible. And it is in the art of the possible that we're now living. So as I said before, you can join the 10X generation, which is on the top. Does anyone know what 10Xing is? Before the 10Xing side of things from an IT perspective, 10 times 10 times 10. That's the idea that you get hundreds of thousands of things done faster, more efficiently. So that's 10X, and it's the 10X generation. That's the little play on words. And then the bottom is my LinkedIn. Please link with me on LinkedIn. I love to keep conversations going. I have a few followers and people that enjoy some of the content that I write about. I'm going to leave you with this. I started out as a singer. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago. I look at the wrinkles on my face and realise how much it was, but it doesn't feel that long ago. But if I hadn't chosen to make that pivot, I'd still probably be one of those sad lounge singers in a pub somewhere thinking, I hate my life and I don't want to be here anymore. So don't be afraid to pivot. Be afraid not to. Don't allow your career to stagnate. I've given you some stats. You know that it's entirely possible to get to the C-suite and the roles that you're in, but also know how vital the roles that you are in are. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Loud applause.